Deuteronomy chapter 17. And don't sacrifice to God, your God, an ox or sheep that is defective or has anything at all wrong with it. That's an abomination, an insult to God, your God. If you find anyone within the towns that God, your God, is giving you doing what is wrong in God's eyes, breaking his covenant by going off to worship other gods or bowing down to them, the sun, say, or the moon, or any rebel sky gods, look at the evidence and investigate carefully. If you find that it's true that, in fact, an abomination has been committed in Israel, then you ought to take the man or woman who did this evil thing outside your city gates and stone the man or woman. Hurl stones at the person until dead. But only on the testimony of 2 or 3 witnesses may a person be put to death. No one may be put to death on the testimony of 1 witness. The witness must throw the first stones in the execution. Then the rest of the community joins in. You have to purge the evil from your community. When matters of justice come up that are too much for you, hard cases regarding homicides, legal disputes, fights, take them to the central place of worship that God, your God, has designated, bringing them to the Levitical priests and the judge who is in the office at the time. Consult them, and they will hand down the decision for you. Then carry out their verdict to the place designated by God, your God. Do what they tell you, in exactly the way they tell you. Follow their instructions precisely. Don't leave anything out and don't add anything. Anyone who presumes to override or twist the decision handed down by the priest or judge who is acting in the presence of God, your God, is as good as dead. Root him out. Rid Israel of the evil. Everyone will take notice and be impressed. That will put an end to the presumptuous behaviour. When you enter the land that God, your God, is giving you and take it over and settle down and then say, I'm going to get me a king like all the nations around me. Make sure you get yourself a king whom God, your God, chooses. Choose your king from among your kinsmen. Don't take a foreigner, only a kinsman. Make sure he doesn't build up a war machine, amassing military horses and chariots. He must not send people to Egypt to get more horses, because God told you you'll never go back there again. And make sure he doesn't build up a harem, collecting wives who will divert him from the straight and narrow. Make sure he doesn't pile up a lot of silver and gold. This is what must be done. When he sits down on the throne of his kingdom, the first thing he must do is make himself a copy of this revelation on a scroll, copied under the supervision of the Levitical priests. That scroll is to remain at the side at all times. He is to study it every day so that he may learn what it means to fear God, living in reverent obedience before these rules and regulations by following them. He must not become proud and arrogant, changing the commands at a whim to suit himself or making up his own versions. If he reads and learns, he will have a long reign as king in Israel, he and his sons.